Hello, ladies and gentlemen! The Mighty Mouse Plays, back at it again. Arc 3.0 is here, and is absolutely a game changer. I will eventually cover every new class, as I will with new weapons and exotics, but I want to start with the changes that excite me the most. Titans have had the most dramatic changes to their kits, adding many new tools and combining a bunch of different options that were available in the old Arc subclasses. I'll be covering the new tools, some combinations you can run for some fun synergy, and let you know what I ultimately chose to run for my Titan Arc 3.0 subclass. Let's start with the first decision to make. What aspects are available, and how will these be best utilized? The first aspect is the Touch of Thunder aspect. This is going to improve the following grenades: flashbangs, pulse grenades, lightnings, and storms. The flashbangs will add a second detonation upon the impact of throwing the grenade, allowing you to throw it more directly at your opponents and get a blinding on initial impact. The pulse grenade will spawn ionic traces when damaging targets, which will allow you to restore abilities. It will also deal increased damage the longer it lingers. The lightning grenade will grant a second charge and will also grant jolt on initial impact, allowing you to chain arc damage to enemies nearby when further damaged. Storm grenades will have a storm cloud that will now chase down enemies and will continue to target them with bolts of lightning as it follows them down. The next aspect we're going to look at is Juggernaut. This aspect will give you a frontal barrier in front of you when after sprinting for 2 seconds and you have your class ability charged. This barrier has 50 total health, but can eat any amount of damage that exceeds 50 as long as it's in one single hit, meaning shotguns, snipers, supers, and most special weapons will usually need to use more than one shot to kill. There'll be one shot to break the barrier, and then one to kill the guardian rushing. It's important to note a few things. The barrier will deplete your class energy ability when the barrier is broken, so you want to run high resilience to get your class ability energy back quickly. You also need to know that if you slide, you immediately lose your Juggernaut barrier that's going to be protecting you. You're also unable to charge up a wall or keep your barrier alive by running into a wall. Lastly, Knockout is the last aspect. This aspect improves your melee by improving its range and damage whenever you break an opponent's shield. It also gives your melee arc energy and amplifies you on kill, while regenerating your health. All of these aspects are great, giving you potent buffs, but I ran between these two combinations: Knockout and Juggernaut, or Knockout and Touch of Thunder. Knockout is great, and it's going to allow you to have huge melee range that usually cleans up any enemy that you've damaged. But more importantly, melee kills will now amplify you, causing you to have an improved movement speed after running for a few seconds. This can be a tool which will allow you to close the gap on enemies with an extended slide and extended sprint speed. This obviously pairs well with Juggernaut for aggressive playstyles, and if you're amplified running with the Juggernaut shield, there are very few things capable of shutting you down before you can close the gap getting into shotgun range. Alternatively, running Touch of Thunder is better for a slower playstyle, as you can sit back deeper and wait for those improved grenades to help you win gunfights, or take gunfights on your own term. I would like to give a special call out to the Storm Grenade with this aspect, paired with the Spark of Magnitude Fragment. This combination will cause your enhanced Storm Grenade to now linger for even longer, which is a great area of denial, as well as a strong tool for tracking down opponents and killing them outright. So either one of these combinations are going to be great, so let's pick one that's going to suit your playstyle, either aggressive or more passive. Next, let's take a gander at some of the abilities. For the class ability, there is a new ability only for Arc Titans called the Thruster. This works like a hunter dodge, where you're tied into a first-person view. It's a quick charging ability with a 30-second base cooldown, which is strong for juking opponents and generally being a get-out-of-jail-free card when you are caught out of cover. You also have your traditional barricades, of which I would say use the Towering Barricade, as it has far more utility for covering revives and shutting down lanes than the Rally Barricade. Both options are actually quite strong here, and I would pick the Thruster for 3s as it's a tool to help you win gunfights, and running the Barricade in 6s and maps where cover isn't very strong, as its strength lie in its ability to let you more easily peek lanes and prevent death when out of position. For supers, I believe the Thunder Crash is better for 3s as it's a great shutdown super, while the traditional Fist of Havoc is better in 6s and has the potential to snag more kills over the length of the entire super. For your jump, nothing has changed between the other Titan classes, so use what you usually would run. I'm partial to the Strafe Lift as it's the fastest over long distances. Now, there is a new melee in town, the Thunderclap. This is a charged melee that unleashes arc energy out to 16 meters. You need to be grounded to use this melee and charge it for about 1 second before the melee will one-shot an enemy. It's also pretty good for quickly cleaning up damaged opponents actually, since it hits out so far. This takes a large amount of prediction to pull off, but supremely satisfying to get the one-shot kill. You also have the classic shoulder charge, which doesn't one-shot now, but will blind your enemies when you connect, as well as being an amazing tool to traverse the map quickly and quickly change direction on a dime. There's also the Ballistic Slam, letting you slam to the ground high out of the air. This melee will knock back enemies, giving you a chance to quickly clean up the enemies that you've hit. This is my least favorite option, and I find that it's not a great movement tool, and shotgunners can sometimes just bonk you as you make your way down towards them with the slam. What it does nicely is pair with the Thundercrash to cover large distances when closing the gap towards enemies. I personally think the shoulder charge has the most utility, but Thunderclap is also a unique option that I find to be more fun and satisfying in general. In terms of the aspects and fragments, my typical rule of thumb is pick the ones that boost the stats that you need for your build, or find fragments that synergize with your builds. With Arc 3.0, I do have a couple callouts for fragments I think work really well with most any builds, so I recommend these if you have any room for fragments. The Spark of Magnitude fragment extends the duration of your lightning grenades, pulse grenades, and lightning grenades. All of these are buffed by the Touch of Thunder aspect, which means they pair well together, giving you improved duration and potency of your arc grenades. And I would like to point out the Armamentarium here if you're going to be running this combination, as you can have double lethal extended arc grenades. The Spark of Shock fragment pairs well with the Spark of Magnitude as well, as your grenades will now jolt opponents, and as they take more damage, they're going to begin spreading arc damage to nearby enemies, which can give you some pretty cool multi-kill potential. The Spark of Recharge fragment causes you to have your melee and grenade charge more quickly when you are heavily damaged. This also helps play into the grenade power that your build will provide, as you'll frequently become critically damaged in all gameplay no matter how good you are. There are some other fragments that will play into blinding, but I found these to be harder to pull off and are more situational as to when you can find use from these. So now let's look into what builds will synergize well with this subclass. Firstly, since this is an aggressive subclass, the Dune Marchers are a great choice for anyone using an aggressive loadout like a shotgun, as the extra sprint speed and slide distance pairs well with Juggernaut, helping you further close the distances between shotgunners. I also mentioned the Armamentarium earlier, as the grenades are hugely potent from the Arc Titans, especially the Storm Grenade, with the Touch of Thunder aspect. Having two of these with 100 discipline would give you constant tools to flush out anyone who's holding a lane or trying to shut down an area from you. The no backup plans also have great utility when paired with this class, because you can shotgun using your Juggernaut shield to get shotgun kills more easily, which will now in turn give you an overshield. Finally, the Antaeus wards also have really great synergy, as you can close the distance running with the Juggernaut shield, but slide where the Juggernaut shield would usually disappear, and the Antaeus wards will protect you from any inbound damage, which would give you tons of safety in shotgun pushes, while also having the awesome utility that reflecting rockets and supers the Antaeus wards already provides. So I know I've talked a lot about the Juggernaut shield here, but it really is an incredibly strong ability and makes aggressive gameplay feel much safer than it has with any other class. So now that you have some better knowledge about the Arc 3.0 Titan and what the other abilities provide, you should now be able to make better decisions when looking at what you prefer to use. I appreciate everyone's time, and thank you for checking out this video. I also have a buddy who posts some less than PG content with myself and playing various games. Feel free to check these videos out if you're looking to check out some new content that's outside of Destiny. I have a link in the description for you. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay smooth, Guardians.
Your enemy can't kill if they're dead. Zone B lost. One minute. Hit them hard. A fire team that fights together stays together. You've got 30 seconds. You're defeated. Fight again. Persistence is key. You've got to hold those zones. Maybe next time, Guardian.